Hey everyone, on this video I'm going to cover the model-driven app side of the new project for the web. So we'll take a look at what the model-driven app actually is and what we can do there, because we can do a lot more on that side than we can do on the office look and feel side of project. So we can really use the model-driven app and the world of the common data service to extend project from what it is out of the box. But to get started, we'll first create a new project. So let's name this, let's give it a sec to load, and let's name this demo project. It can start today. Calendar templates are just fine. We'll add a task, and what I'll do is I'll assign that task to myself. Let's give that task a duration. Here we go. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to board, and I'm going to group by bucket, and I'm going to add a new bucket called demo bucket. Now this is currently the only project that I have in the system. So based on this, we can now look at the model-driven world and see what happens in project as we create it. So let's hop to the model-driven side and let's refresh the model-driven app. Now what we can see here is the project that we just created, the demo project. Now on the sitemap on the left, you can see quite a few elements here, and if you compare this sitemap with your own, you probably realize that it doesn't really match. It's not the same, and the reason for that is that I've customized this sitemap. So I've added some of the elements that ship with project out of the box that really allows me to, out of the box, just extend the basic capabilities like different kinds of roles, proficiency models, and whatnot. And I'm going to run through them all for you next. All right, so as we're here on our sitemap and under projects, the other options that we have are buckets. Now, as you can see, we have a demo bucket here, and that's actually that bucket that we just created on the office look and feel. Now, under tasks, we have all those tasks that we have on our project. So we only have one project with a single task, so we have that task displayed right here. Now under resources, what we have is something called project team members. Now I added myself on the project that we just created, and I'm automatically added as a project team member on that project. Now if I navigate back to our project and I assign, let's add John Doe on this project, and let's create a group and get John Doe assigned. What happens on the model-driven side under team members is that John Doe is automatically added as a team member. All right, so moving down under resources, we have an area called resources. Now these are all the active bookable resources that I currently have in the system. And every time you add a user on a task, he or she appears under bookable resources if that current person, if that user has not already been assigned to a task in a previous project. So let's see how that works. So again, hopping over to my project, let's add Roger Wilco on this task, and let's look at the model-driven side and refresh. We can see that Roger Wilco is automatically added as a bookable resource in the system. Now under the resource area, the last thing that I want to touch is resource assignments. So as you can see, we now have 3 active resource assignments in the system, and we have an assignment per resource per task that we just created on the office look and feel. So every time you add a bookable resource on a task, a resource assignment gets created. And this is especially important kind of moving down to better together, and when project really, evolves and new features get added. Understanding what resource assignments is going to be pretty critical down the line. All right, so from resources, let's hop over to sales. There's really not much to cover here. We have accounts, we have contacts. We can pretty much just skip this for now. I think that at the moment, we don't really have too many use cases for these in the new project. Down the line, I'm sure we will. So let's hop over to settings. So on settings, we have what's called bookable resource categories. Now, if you're familiar with project service automation, you've probably played around with these project settings kinds of things before, like roles, characteristics, rating models, and whatnot. So what roles are essentially, the role of the person or the role of the bookable resource that's doing the job. What are they? What is their role? Are they a consultant? Are they a project manager, a team member, an architect, a developer, or something similar? Out of the box, project ships with two roles. We have project manager and we have team member. Now what I've done is I've created an additional role of consultant. So opening this up, we can see some additional details for this role. And what we have here is information like target utilization. Again, that's probably something that'll become viable perhaps down the line. We also have some skills that we can define. So again, down the line, skills could potentially be used to kind of restrict what kind of resources we want to use with projects. So hopping on to characteristics, these are exactly those skills that we just mentioned. What I've done is I've created two in the system. We have something for field service functional consultant, which is a type of certification, and then we have a skill for Scrum. Now, with skills, you can have a rating model for your skills. So out of the box, we have a default rating model that is sort of a 3-tier rating value system from 1 to 3. So we have familiar, we have good, and we have proficient. Now, if we look at kind of hop back to our resources and hop back to myself, we can see that we have resource characteristics of certification for field service, which I possess, and then resource characteristics for Scrum, and seems that I'm good in Scrum. Well, I guess I am then. And what we have also under bookable resource is a resource category of consultant, Power Platform, which is actually, in my case, accurate. So the last area that we have here is settings. Again, not really much to cover here. We have parameters and we have calendar templates. These I already covered in a previous video. So as you can see on the model-driven side, there's lots of things that we can do that really extend the capabilities of project as it comes out of the box. Now, a lot of these things aren't at the moment visible on the Office look and feel, but on the model-driven side, you can really create powerful business rules, run your own processes, and just really extend this project with pretty powerful ways. And we have a lot of good things here out of the box, a lot of good settings like skills, characteristics, and these kinds of things that we can do and that we can use to really build our project the way we want to, really run it in our organization. With that said, this pretty much wraps up the video. I want to thank you for your time and have a good one.